Hello, Professor Toybox here, along with Vision, and today I'm going to start building the Hydra-based toy box that I showed you last time. Now, this is a large toy box, as you saw, and I wanted it to be filled with trees and have lots of places to explore and things to do. The problem is that I'm playing on a Wii U, and it doesn't have quite as much memory as a PS4 or other systems. So that means in order to build a toy box like the one I showed last time, I need to make some really smart choices about how I build it and what pieces I use. Every building piece that you use in the toy box, whether it's a Agrabah Palace piece or this piece or that one or any of these pieces, a block, a plant, a piece of terrain, any and all of these take up a chunk of memory. So if you're going to use a piece, the game must first load the model for that piece into memory, which takes up space, and then placing the object itself into the toy box takes up more space. So in order to reserve as much memory as possible for my toy box world, I need to limit the variety of building pieces that I use. The less variety I use, the fewer models it loads into memory, and the more memory I have available to actually build my toy box world. For this particular toy box, it was pretty easy to limit the variety of building pieces and still have a toy box that looks amazing. I'm using a total of 11 terrain pieces, 9 Dunbrock Castle pieces, 2 pirate roofs, 1 building frame, 5 plant clusters, 2 platforming bridges, and a half a dozen or so ledge hang pieces, and that's it. I'm also avoiding any complex interactive pieces like rail slides or racetrack pieces or set pieces or things like that. So as we get started here, I've already taken the liberty of setting the sky, and let me show you what I've done there. So I've placed the sky changer and I've set this to be the Echo Base Skies. This is from the Rise Against the Empire playset. So you'll need to have that to unlock this sky, and this is under the Disney Infinity 3.0 category. And then I've also placed a boombox so I can turn off the music. And I can go ahead and delete this sky changer now. And with the orientation of the toy box, we've got the power generators over there. So that's what I'm going to use as the reference point for my sky. For the terrain, the theme I'm going to start with is going to be the Echo Base terrain theme, and I'll set that to be my theme. It's a good snowy theme. You're also going to need the Frozen Flourish power disc for the terrain, and I've already placed that on my Disney Infinity base, which unlocked this terrain theme from Frozen, and we'll get to that shortly. So let me go ahead and exit out of here, exit out of Spark mode, and we're going to scroll to the right until we get to this piece, which is the same piece as the default size terrain block that we start with. And again, I started with an empty toy box. And looking at the power generators over there, we're going to begin by placing 1, 2 terrain pieces in this direction, and another 3 in the other direction. So we're going to end up with a total of 6 pieces of terrain. That's how long our toy box is. And then we'll come over here and drop another row of 6 pieces. Okay. And then come over on this side and we'll drop another 3 rows. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the next row. And so what we're going to end up with here is a 5 by 6 square area of terrain. And that's the total size of my toy box. And it's pretty large, but that's all right. Okay, so that's what we're going to begin with. And we'll come back to our starting terrain block over here. And we're going to come back out into the editor, and I'm going to go to this terrain cube, this terrain block, and we're going to put one down on the corner of our starting block And the power generators are over there in the back corner, just so you can kind of see where this is. We're going to place 2 of these like that. And I'll delete this one. So I'm just using this for a spacer. And then we'll come back over and pick up another large terrain block. And this is going to sit right up next to that little spacer block. And it's going to line up with the terrain seams on the left and right. So just like that. So basically this block here sits directly on top of the one below it, but it overhangs this block by one little terrain cube. I'll go ahead and delete that spacer. And let's go ahead and set the theme on this new block to be Frozen Flourish. Every other terrain block that we're going to put down from here on out is going to use Frozen Flourish. And I like this terrain theme because the rocky side of this just looks really good against the snowy backdrop. So I like that a lot. All right. And then let me pull up my screenshots here. Okay, so we're going to start then with, let's go ahead and place, since I'm right here, one of these small terrain blocks on this corner. And another one over here. Again, power generators are over there. And we'll place 3 of these along here like that. And then another one over off of this corner like this. Okay. And then we're going to put 2 spacer blocks over here. So these are just temporary. We'll go back up to this size again. We're going to place this right here on the edge, like you see right there. We can go ahead and take these out. And then we'll come over here and go to the next size smaller. And I'm actually going to leave a hole here. So I'm not going to place a block there. I'm going to put this over here. And we're going to leave that hole for the cave. And then we'll come over here. Again, power generators are over there. We'll put 2 more of these out here like this. And another one straddling that seam like that. All right, and there is the base layer of the terrain. There's 3 terrain layers for our central mountain. That's the first one. All right, now for the second layer, we're going to pick up one of these and use this for a spacer. So I'm going to place this down about like you see it here. And then a terrain cube like you see here. And the next terrain piece is going to sit right in the corner of that. So this is going to sit right in here like that. And let me make sure I've got that correct before I proceed. Yep, just like that. All right. And then moving down towards the power generators, we're going to put another 3 of these down like this. So a row of 4 of those blocks. And then we'll go to the next size smaller. We'll come back here. And I'm going to place down 3. 1, 2, 3. And then the next size larger goes right in that little corner just like that, with another one behind it. And then 2 of these to fill in that little area. And 2 more sticking out over here. Like that. And then we'll come back over to this end. This one is going to sit right on the middle of that seam there. Just like this. And that's what we've got. And that is just about it for the middle layer. We do have one more block we got to put over here, like that. Okay, so that's it for the second layer of terrain. Now for the third layer, Let's grab another one of these. And we're going to come over here to this point. So we're looking, our starting pad is down there. And this is going to sit in here a half a block to the right like that. Okay. Then we'll come back up and grab another one of these large blocks. And this is going to sit right up against that spacer block and straddle the block in the middle. So the left and right edge of that block are lined up with the blocks below. So just like you see there. We can come take that little spacer out. And did I take these spacers out? No, I did not. We can take those out now too, so we don't need those. Okay. So with the power generators in the back, we'll place another one of these blocks over here on this front corner. And we're going to place another one of these, and I'm going to place two of them actually, but I'm going to delete the first one. That's the one I want. That was just a spacer. Alright, so there is our central mountain. And I've only used three different terrain blocks so far. We've used the big one that we started with, the smaller one, and the medium-sized one over here. Alright, so to kind of pretty up the edges of this, because it looks really flat and boring, we're going to scroll to the left to the cliff pieces, which are these pieces here. And we'll start on this corner, like this. We'll place this little one around here like that. And then we're just going to go work our way around the perimeter of this until we get to the cave. As you can see, that makes it just look so much nicer. Doesn't look nearly as square and boring. There's just a lot of really nice detail. And fortunately, there's only half a dozen or so of these pieces. So once you've used one of these, the model for it's loaded into memory. And it doesn't cost you much to place down additional pieces. Alright, so now we come to the cave. And we're going to fill in that with these pieces as well, so the inside of the cave isn't square. So we're going to put one more of these pieces in here. And then this cliff corner is going to sit in here like this. And we're going to put this around the perimeter of the room. Now I can't put another one here because that'll close off the cave. And so what we'll do instead is we'll put this nice little finishing edge over here. And for this wall, we'll use this piece, cave cliff piece, back to back, and this one in here as well. And that way, not much I can do about that corner being kind of flat, but it's not really that noticeable because most of the room just has a nice look to it. And then we'll go ahead and keep working our way around the perimeter till we get back to where we started. And I could probably do this offline, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and put these pieces in here because I know some of you like to watch me do this. Maybe you're new to the toy box or you're just not quite sure what I did if I did fast forward. So this way, as you're watching me, you can actually see me do it. And there's no ambiguity as to exactly what I did. For you more experienced builders, though, you can kind of fast forward a little bit. and skip things. Now for this one, rather than this piece, we're going to use this climbing cliff, because this is going to take us to the wooden bridge that leads to the outpost over there that I attacked with Thor last time. And so this is how the player would get up there if they can't fly. So we want to make sure we have the climbing cliff there. And this brings us back around to where we started. And I have to leave this area flat for the ledge hangs, because I can't really put them up against these pieces. They'll be floating out in space, and I want them up against the cliff. So for this, we're going to just cap off the edge of this with this cliff ledge, and that just kind of finishes off that corner. And from the ground, it still looks like it might have some protrusions and things just based on the texture on it. So there is the first level. And now we'll come up to the next level and kind of work our way around the perimeter of this. We're basically doing the same thing here all the way around until we get to this point, and we get to the corner here where we have our next set of ledge hangs. And so I'm going to cap that off again and leave that square. And we need both sides square in order to be able to move around the corner of this on the ledge hangs. The problem is that looks really square. And so what we're going to do to offset that is I'm going to use the first of two ledge pieces. So you have to scroll to the right a little ways to get to those. The other ledge piece we're going to use later is this jutting ledge. We're going to use a couple of those, but that won't be today. And we're going to use this large rounded cliff. And these are the only two of these that we're going to use. We'll put one there, and we'll put one on this corner. And that just helps break that up so it doesn't look quite so square. And then we'll go ahead and pick up this corner piece again. And we'll start filling in this side of the cliff from here, because we're not going to go all the way down. Basically going to do 3 followed by this little half-size piece and then this corner. And that leaves a flat area there for our ledge hangs. And then we'll come over to this side and keep working our way around the perimeter on this second level. And then we get to this corner, and you'll notice that overlaps or hangs over the edge of that a little bit. That's fine. That's exactly what I want. Don't really want the player to go that way. Nothing really wrong if they do, but for a ground-based character, I just want it clear to them as they come up this climbing cliff that they need to go this way. Kind of removes the ambiguity of where to go. And we're going to hit that same sort of situation over here on this end. As you can see, this hangs over that edge as well. And again, I did that on purpose so that when the player comes up the first set of ledge hangs there down below, and they get up to this area up here, there's no ambiguity as to where to go to get to the next set of ledge hangs. So they come up these ledge hangs here, they get up here. Oh, can't really go that way. We'll go around this way. And that's the purpose of that. All right, so the final level up here on this corner We'll begin again with this narrow cliff piece. So like that, and then we're going to move around the perimeter once again. And this is a little smaller, so this will go quicker. And then once again, as we come around this corner, we need to leave room for the ledge hangs. So we'll put one piece here, and then this corner piece to cap it off. And we'll leave this all flat for the ledge hangs. And there's all the terrain we're going to put down today. And that looks pretty good. That's our central mountain. Alright, now we'll add the buildings in here. So let's start by going up to Building Sets Group 6. And we need to go to the left. I think might be the quickest way to get to the Dunbrock Castle pieces. And to unlock those, you need the Brave Forest Siege 2.0 game. We're going to start with this corner tower piece back here on this corner, oriented like that, centered over that terrain seam, and we're going to go one nudge to the right, so half a block in that direction, and that's where we put that. And then if you scroll over here, we have these castle walls, and these are designed to go right up next to that. You want to put it with the little higher wall facing outward, because that's where the defenders would hide behind, typically. And then we'll come back over and pick up this middle tower piece here. And it's too bad the castle wall isn't kind of next to those, since these all go together. Kind of silly why they're so separate, but I'm not sure why they did that. Would have been more efficient to keep them together. But the way to work around that is to set up a list of favorite pieces. And I don't usually do that in my videos because I'm trying to show you exactly where you find these pieces. But if you want to know how to do that, you can look at the Toy Box Tutorials series that I've got. I believe it's episode 2 that shows you how to do that. And again, I could do that for my videos, but for those of you who are newer builders, you wouldn't, my favorites drawer wouldn't look anything like the default toy box drawers that you would be looking at. And so I'd have to explain how to set up favorites and all that all the time. So I don't do that usually in my videos. But when I'm building, just for myself, or like when the first time I built this thing, I actually did set up favorites, because it just goes so much quicker when you're building if all the pieces you need are right there together. Especially when I'm only using a handful of them like I am here. Alright, so there's the castle at the top of the mountain. And then we need the building that is in the middle of this. We're going to put this right up against the castle wall like that. And we're going to put this 2 deep. And we'll turn the door in like that. Do the same thing here. Have that door turned inward. And then this is going to straddle those blocks like you see there. Like that. So there's the building in the middle of the castle. And then down here, just drop a couple of these in for spacers. This is going to sit in over here, and I want the door facing in like that. Make sure I have that door facing in over there. And then just like the main building at the castle, we'll go ahead and put a row of these up here. Make sure that door is hidden, like that. And then we'll drop an archway here. Put this out here like this, with the door in there like that. Like so. Alright, there's all the castle pieces. And then for the roof, we'll need the pirate roofs. These are from the Pirates of the Caribbean playset. That's in Building Sets Group 4. And we're going to use these roof wedges. So we'll drop these in here like this. And then up top, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to straddle those 2 blocks below like that. And then we'll use this roof wedge corner like this. I just like the way that looks, personally. There we go. Whoops, gotta do this side yet. So put the roof wedge up here like that. And then we'll take these out. So we don't need those. Those were just for spacers. Alright, and there's the buildings for the lower area. And then we're going to do the same thing for the roof up here. Make sure we're lined up in the middle of that building, straddling those seams, so that when we put these over here like that, we have an even amount of overhang on either side of the roof there. And then just put this down around the perimeter. Just like that. Okay. And there we go. So now when we back away, that looks very similar to the mountain that you see at the start of the Age of Ultron movie, with the buildings in there and so on. So I really like the look of that. Well, I think this is a good stopping point for today. Next time, I'll build the other rocky cliff areas and the castle outposts around the perimeter of the toy box. Until then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, or at least found the memory management tips to be helpful for you. Be sure to subscribe to my channel before you go, if you haven't done that already. See you next time.